Hi, hello, how you doing? Wireshred here. Today I will be reviewing and listening for the first time all the way through an album that I have personally been anticipating, which is of course Lisa's Alter Ego. The tracklist in front of me has 15 songs with some interesting features and a 42-minute runtime, so I definitely have my work cut out for me. These recent K-pop albums have destroyed my usual stamina for releases of a normal length. Out of all the Blackpink girls, Lisa is definitely the one I've been keeping an eye out for. From the singles she's released thus far, I feel pretty good about Alter Ego as an album, as a preview. Rockstar, my personal favorite out of the bunch, New Woman, a pretty close second, and Moonlit Floor was a track that I just personally didn't mesh well with. Nothing wrong with it, per se, just boring for my tastes. The last single, Born Again, is one that I've stayed away from until this moment. This will be my first listen through, and I felt like hearing 3 singles before the official release was enough for me. I didn't want to give too much away, so to speak. With that being said, this is a good time for disclaimers. As anyone familiar with my channel knows, if you've watched my album reviews, I am not holding back any punches. If I think something is bad, I will say so. Vice versa, if the song is good, I will say so. So please, if you are sensitive to people being critical, I would not continue watching this video. Now, for copyright's sake, I'm not going to play the songs in the video, but I will be editing together my initial reactions and then concluding with an overall review of the album. To start, the first track is Born Again featuring Doja Cat and Ray. Now, I'm going to admit something embarrassing. I don't know if it's because I haven't had any coffee yet or my general lethargy is catching up to me, but I genuinely thought that the Ray referenced in the features was Addison Rae, and my heart dropped. You can imagine my elation when I realized while listening to the song that it is actually the British songwriter. Thank God. Anyway, besides that, this was a pretty good start to the album. I'm actually very happy with this track. It might be my favorite out of the singles from the album, not sure yet, I have to let it ruminate for a bit, but this song was not what I expected from Lisa. When it comes to pop music, I do love synth funk. That's why I liked Future Nostalgia from Dua Lipa so much, and this song really reminded me of that album. I really didn't think Lisa would dip her toes into that genre, but she did, and I liked it. The production on this song was top tier in my books, and the only real gripe I have is how short the verses are, especially Ray's in the bridge section. I would have loved to see more out of her in that moment. Doja Cat was decent. Her raps are fine, not her best, but they did their job. And I did appreciate getting to hear a bit of her vocals too. I always love to hear that. It made the track as a whole more cohesive, and all in all, good song. This makes me hopeful, right? We're starting off on the right track. Things are looking up. I am skipping the next track, which is Rockstar, because I've heard it and y'all already know that I like it. So next up is Elastigirl. Okay, so you know when you like all the aspects of a song except one, and that one aspect is so vital that it makes or breaks the song for you? That's what this track is for me. So far, I feel like the production is pretty good when it comes to beats and compiling all the different elements together. I do like songs that are very crisp, punchy, and snappy. Even the effects and filters that they use on Lisa's voice, especially in this song, are my taste. But these lyrics, though, Lisa, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Stretch Me Out was wild. That's crazy. That's crazy work. I hope it's not a shock to anybody when I say that Lisa is well known for her lyrics, just not in the way I imagine that she'd appreciate. Most of the time, they aren't great. Again, I was pretty hopeful after Born Again since it seemed to be at an acceptable level, but then Rockstar followed, and of course Elastigirl after that, which makes me think that this trend might continue down the line, so let me give the spiel here. I'm pretty sure I talked about this very briefly in other videos, but K-pop rapping is suitable for K-pop, but it's very clear that when you take it out of that context and apply it to, in a traditional sense, a rap song, it's bad. It's really bad. And it's even worse when you know that the artists themselves aren't writing these lyrics, so they really have no excuse to be this bad. Okay, so editing wireshred popping in really quickly to add a correction here. Because I'm so used to K-pop rappers not writing their own raps, I assumed the same was true for this album. It's not. I looked it up after the fact just to make sure that, I wasn't spreading misinformation. It turns out that Lisa did have a big hand in songwriting in this album. All of the songs have her in the credits except for Born Again. And when she is in the credits, she is first in the credits, which makes me think that she did have a major role in writing it. That being said, she's not listed as the only songwriter, which makes me think that people did help her with these lyrics. And so for that, I do still think my argument stands here, but just wanted to correct the record. When Lisa was Blackpink's rapper, I think that she definitely delivered what she was supposed to, what she was taught to. I think that's also important to remember. But when you expand that, when you take those few bars that she had and really put them into a song of their entirety, you can really see all the cracks starting to form. But I think that even then, even acknowledging that, listening to her part in Blackpink songs, I could always tell that a lot of her presence and a lot of her personality carried her most of the way. It did a lot of the heavy lifting for her. And I think that for the first time, especially in Elastigirl, I found a lot of that to be lacking, which was surprising to me. Because, I mentioned that I like Rockstar before, and I know that song in particular got a lot of negative attention. And despite liking it, I will not even try to defend it. I'm throwing my hands up. I'm like, nope, she's alone on this one. The lyrics weren't great. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see where she takes it. Because if she continues doing what she did on Elastigirl, it's not going to be great. I'm going to be honest. It's stacking up to be a pretty mediocre album, right? I feel like that's pretty early to say. We're only on the third song. A lot of things can change from here on out. Maybe this is the only stinker on the album. It's possible. But I also have to acknowledge that the song does have redeemable factors about it. I mean, the beat on this song was pretty good. Even if Lisa herself didn't deliver, I could still imagine this being played a lot. Anyway, moving on from that, the next song that we have up is Thunder. No. No to all of that. No to every single second of that. Every single millisecond of that. That was bad. Comparing it to the last track that we had, I think that, like I predicted, we have a consistent thing when it comes to the lyrics of the song, but I do think that the production on this one was particularly irritating to listen to. It was just loud for being loud's sake, and it's bad when it's coming from me because I love loud songs. Oh my god. Literally make my eardrums bleed. I will thank you for it. But this was loud in a way that lacked any kind of grit or real teeth. I think the best thing I can compare it to is a little chihuahua barking. Just all bark, no bite. I was like, okay, take a seat, please. I guess the first thing I can start on is the horrible filter that they put on Lisa's voice in this song. I don't know why they did that, because it makes her sound like the mic that she's rapping into is peaking constantly. It's not a good sound at all. When it comes to the lyrics themselves, I do feel like they're again lacking the kind of personality that Lisa usually brings to tracks that she's on. Some of the stuff is kind of corny, a little bit on the nose, where I'm like, okay, I have to side-eye it a little bit. Here you go. Careful how you move through Meet My Alter Ego. Obviously, the alter egos she introduced into this album and the title of the album. And of course, this song has a chorus that's not really a chorus. Okay, yeah, this is gonna have to be my first no. This is in the red. I feel like Elastigirl was mediocre. It's okay, whatever. I get the point that she's trying to make. This one, no. This one hurt to listen to. All right, moving on to the next one. Oh, it's actually New Women by Rosalia. Again, I already said my comment on it. I do like that song. And so the next one after that is Fuck Up the World featuring Future. Holy shit, this is a Future beat if I've ever heard it. Oh my god. That said, I do like this track more than I did the other ones, although not by that much. I do want to put a little bit of an asterisk on that though, because there were definitely moments in this song where I was like, again, I had to side-eye it a little bit. I was like, okay. I think the most prominent example of this is definitely in the chorus of the song, the screaming, chanting kind of thing. I really, really wish that they would have gone a little harder or that Lisa would have shouted like she actually meant what she was talking about, because again, kind of similar to my critique of the last one, there were moments in this where I feel like it wasn't really delivered with the kind of grit that it needed to. When Lisa said she wanted to fuck up the world in this song, I didn't really believe her when she said it. And another thing that I wanted to point out, just, to point it out, I was looking through the lyrics again, which not as bad as they were on other tracks. I'm noticing a bit of a trend where songs that do have a feature on them tend to be of a higher caliber when it comes to the lyrics, or at least they're on an acceptable level where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to cringe at anything being said. The only thing I wanted to point out was near the very end of the track, she says, they want the old Lisa, then listen to my old shit. Do people want the old Lisa? Maybe I'm out of the loop. Maybe I don't know. Have people been calling for old Lisa? I feel like this is pretty on par with old Lisa. Are they talking about La Lisa era? That shit was like, what, 3 years ago? Like, it wasn't that long ago. So yeah, this is a tentative, I like this song. That's what I'm gonna go with. All right, and then after that, on the track list, we have Rapunzel featuring Megan Thee Stallion. I'm actually really excited about this. I love Megan, so I'm gonna see what she delivers on this track in particular. I didn't finish that song. I had to skip it. I'm sorry. I know for the sake of the album, I should probably listen. I should do it. Oh god, I don't want to do it though. I don't want to listen to that song anymore. I'm 1 minute and 28 seconds in. I lasted long enough so I could listen to the end of Megan's verse, but Jesus Christ, I don't even believe in him. But I'm looking up to him now. What the fuck was that? Oh god, where do I even start? I know where to start. Where did we get that fuck-ass beat? What was that? Oh my god. Does Lisa have something on Megan? Why did she jump on this track? Oh, Megan, no. Why? No, this was bad. Okay, so immediately at the beginning of the song, I was already on the wrong foot. I was 10 seconds in, and I was listening to the track, and I was like, this reminds me of something. Like, it's so familiar to me. It's on the tip of my tongue. What is it? I did some soul searching, right? And eventually I arrived at the conclusion that it sounds, if it was less distorted, right? It would be absolutely perfect as background music for a SpongeBob SquarePants episode. That's what it sounds like to me. It feels like Patrick, Star, and SpongeBob should be talking about how to fuck with Squidward, like, over top of it. That's what it sounds like. And Megan's on this song. Why is Megan on this song? Something else I noticed pretty quickly, Lisa's lyrics have kind of reached a low on this song. Not necessarily in terms of corniness. I don't think that it's, I don't think it's terrible or cringy in that sense, but it is, like, generic to a level that's indescribable at this point. Also, let me see. Rapunzel is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Yeah, it's the 7th track on this album, and her lyrics are starting to feel repetitive at this point, which also isn't a super good sign. I'm mentioning it again, but I think it's just, I have to, because it's such a stark comparison to Megan's verse. But even in the amount of time Megan had, hold on. Okay, I'm on Spotify right now. She had 9 lines as a part of her verse on this song. In those 9 lines, she had more personality than Lisa, like, combined on all of the tracks. Like, it's so obvious the discrepancy between them, but I feel like Rapunzel is a new low. Like, I feel like this is undeniably the worst song on here. I don't know if it'll get worse than this. I'm hoping it won't. I'm hoping this is just like a low in the middle of the album, and then we can bounce back. Elastigirl, Thunder, and Rapunzel so far. We'll get through this. It's fine. After that, we have Moonlit Floor, which, I've already said my comments about that. After that, we have When I'm With You featuring Tyla. Please, for the love of God, please don't do another fuck-ass beat. Oh my god, I'm scared. Okay, so with this track, we are no longer in a bad territory. We're back up to mediocre, I feel like. I think that in terms of my personal experience with this, it's pretty on par with Moonlit Floor. Nothing egregious about it when it comes to production. Lyrics, too, not something that I'll like vomit at or anything. I think my biggest gripe, I feel like, is probably that Tyla and Lisa don't feel like they have good chemistry on the song. It doesn't feel like both of them are really adapting to each other on a musical sense. But I just think it really sticks out like a sore thumb that, like, this was not a collaborative effort. It was more like, you turn in your part of the assignment, I'll turn in mine, and then we're done. Yeah, nothing egregious about it. It's fine. It's fine. That's pretty much all I can say about it. Again, a bit stale, a bit boring, not really a standout in the album either. So anyway, after that we have Bad Girl. Okay, so we definitely have another drop-off in terms of quality of songwriting and everything with Bad Girl. I will say again, I don't find anything to be like particularly egregious to the song. I would not listen again, but I could see the appeal from another person's perspective when it comes to this song. I do think that if you are more into this type of thing, I would understand your appreciation of it. However, it is very one-dimensional. It relies heavily on the main hook of the song because the other parts do not do it any kind of favors. Again, talking more about the lyrics of the songs, I think I heard my neck snap when she said, "Everybody blowing up my Motorola." Motorola? What year is it? Oh my god. I had a Motorola when I was 12. What are you talking about? The main melody, the main hook of the song is surprisingly, like, non-melodic. It feels like someone's just droning on and on. Like, that's just it over and over again. So that was not an enjoyable experience. And again, very much loud without the grit necessary to really give it that kind of appeal. You know what it is? This is the type of song that I would like, but it's in its infancy stage, right? It doesn't have the necessary elements added on top of it to really embellish and work out the rough details. Because honestly, I think that's why I'm not as harsh on this song as I probably should be. Because this feels like something I would enjoy. It's like halfway there. Man, okay. Anyway, after that, after Bad Girl, we have Lifestyle. And now, on this roller coaster ride that has been Alter Ego, we go up again. I think even past mediocre, at least for me, and we're treading into good territory, right? Just a little bit. Begrudgingly, we're up there. This has a lot of the similar issues that some of the bad songs have on this particular album. I just think that Lifestyle touches on more elements of songwriting and production that I like personally. So given the fact that it appeals more to me, I enjoy it more. I don't think that it's actually better in terms of quality. And then, of course, because it seems like there's this kind of mandatory requirement for songs to do so these days, it references TikTok in the chorus. And honestly, mentioning TikTok has got me thinking that a lot of these songs very much read to me as wanting to go viral on that, which I can understand from like a promotional perspective, but in the terms of making actually good music, as you might have guessed, it fails to do that. Now that I'm actually saying it out loud and I'm looking at this track list, I think that might have been the goal of Alter Ego, which makes me a little sad. It makes me a little disappointed, but it is what it is. A lot of this music does very much read as TikTok music. So yeah, I guess I liked Lifestyle, although reluctantly. Having said that, we have Chill afterwards. Okay, we're finally here. Chill feels like finding an oasis in the desert. We're at a resting spot. You know, you can just enjoy the song without worrying about anything else. I'm looking back at the track list now, and I'm trying to remember the last good song I listened to. Fuck Up the World? Chill was better than Fuck Up the World. I think we are at like Born Again levels again in terms of quality. I feel like we finally hitched up again into like, okay, this was actually enjoyable. Even when it comes to the songwriting and the lyrics, they weren't cringy, corny, repetitive, generic. Like, they definitely felt natural to Lisa, natural to the song. Out of all of the tracks, Chill was definitely where Lisa felt most in her element. Now, whether or not this trend will continue, I don't know. looking at the list, we have Dream, and then 2 more songs, versions without their features. That's actually going to be interesting. I wonder how different my opinions will be without the features on the list. But chill. I really have no gripes with the song whatsoever. I think that the production is good, the verses were good, the pre-chorus were good, the moments where she was singing were really nice. The chorus's melody was catchy, but it wasn't, so overpowering to the rest of the song where it was like heavy lifting anything, because I felt like the rest of the track lived up to the potential of the chorus. So I feel pretty confident in saying that Chill was a really good song. Again, I feel the need to put it in context. I feel like, I also need to think about that. Because was this released as a K-pop album? Or is it just an album? Because that changes things. It's from the Loud label. That's interesting. I wonder if people are reviewing this as just a pop music album or a K-pop album. And that would probably change things, because I do feel like, oh god, this might piss some people off, but I do feel like from K-pop standards, this album is decent, but again, K-pop standards are pretty lax. They're not astringent. I will stand by Chill in saying that it is a good song. Let's see the final track that is not a repetition of one from before without the feature. So, last track, Dream. And with that, we have the final song on this album, Dream. This is definitely going in the category of not necessarily anything done wrong with the song, but it is boring. However, again, I'm including a lot of asterisks in this review. I do think that the reason why this particular track is so boring, and now that I've come to this realization, I'm reflecting on a lot of the other songs that I considered in this category. I think that this song probably would have resonated with me more if Lisa was a better singer. I mean this affectionately. I do think that she's decent enough, right? I don't think that every singer needs to be Celine Dion or something. But if you really want to evoke a kind of emotion from an audience with a somber, slow kind of song like this, you need to have something unique when it comes to your tone. Not just your tone, your technique, your vocal ability. Because I do think that Lisa does have a very lovely tone. I think she sounds very sweet, but it's also very evident that she's not the best when it comes to, and I'm not just talking about high notes, right? I do think there's also this common misconception that just because you're constantly singing high notes, that you're an excellent vocalist, which is absolutely not the case. I just think that her lack of vocal capabilities shines through, especially on songs like this. And again, like I said, it's making me reflect on the other songs that I considered boring. Would I still find them boring if they were done by a more capable vocalist? I'm looking back, When I'm With You, Moonlit Floor. Actually, I think it's those three. I think the answer is yes. I do think that in more capable hands, these songs would have resonated with me more. Having said that, just, to say that I listened to the album, I'm going to listen to the last 2 on this list, which is Fuck Up the World and Rapunzel solo versions, just to round out this album, and then of course I'll do the overall review. I'll be right back. Alright, after listening to both tracks, I can confidently say that for Rapunzel, I listened it all the way through this time, because I knew that if I didn't, people would start shit with me. So I went back, I listened to the one without Megan Thee Stallion and the one with Megan Thee Stallion. The one with the feature is absolutely better. Oh my god. Megan brings so much personality to the track that it just doesn't have without her. Even then, not even really her best bars. Like, I wouldn't even say this is like Megan at her best or anything. Sorry, I'm struggling now because I think after I listened to the track the first time, I disassociated and I forgot how bad it was. So then I had to go back and listen to it, and I just remembered all the reasons I hate this song. Even with the amount of energy Megan brings to the song, it does not save it. So my opinion hasn't changed much in that regard. But yeah, the version with her is vastly superior. Now, when it comes to Fuck Up the World, I could really go either way, with or without Future. I feel like it's pretty much the same experience. It really just depends on whether or not you like Future as a rapper. Me, really depends on the song, right? I feel like his songs are also pretty hit or miss for me. So just to wrap up the album and give my overall thoughts on it, this was definitely a hit or miss album for me. I mean, we went from highs to mediocres to low to mediocre to low to mediocre to high to mediocre to low. It was undeniably a roller coaster, which makes me sad, right? I think I even started this review with Born Again on a pretty good note, and by the end of this, I feel pretty meh. I'm like, this album was fine. And again, I return to the idea that I posited before because I hadn't really thought about it. But I'm wondering, like, would my opinion change if I thought about it outside the context of K-pop? Because I don't think that this is really marketed towards the K-pop industry. I mean, all of the lyrics are in English. I was surprised that none of the songs were in Thai, or at least one verse or something. I thought that maybe she would try to tap into that kind of side of herself, especially after, oh god, what was it? It was La Lisa. I believe the last verse of that song was in Thai, so I was really thinking that on this album, that was like her alter ego, one of them would tap into that part of herself, but it didn't. All in all, it feels like a letdown. It feels like it could have been better than it was. Again, I definitely do think that there are highlights of this album, things that I definitely did enjoy. I don't think it's a waste of time. I don't think it's like the worst album ever put out, even in the context of other pop rap, because I imagine that's the category this song is in. It's not a rap album, but she keeps rapping in it, so it's probably going to be considered a pop rap album. Something that I will credit her for is that the production on this album was pretty good. There were some misses. Obviously, you all know how I feel about Rapunzel, but I will point out that that was an outlier on this album. For the most part, production was pretty good. There was some pretty good beats on this. This is gonna sound shady. I'm really sad that the Elastigirl beat was wasted on this album. I feel like in the hands of a better artist that, oh god, it could have been such a good song. And of course, I return again to the lyrics of this album. It wasn't all bad. Also, consider that this is my first listen through, so some of these songs might grow on me, some of them I might, learn to hate. It is what it is, but on the first listen through, I would say it's a pretty mediocre debut. Its lows are pretty damn low, but its highs are up there, right? Now, of course, this all comes to personal opinion, because I know a lot of people who would probably put Rockstar in the lower tier, but I personally liked it, so I'm looking at Rockstar, Born Again, New Woman, Fuck Up the World, Lifestyle, Chill, and I'm like, those were good songs. They were decent. Having said that, I could definitely see why they chose the songs they did to serve as singles, right? When it comes to New Woman, Born Again, Moonlit Floor, Rockstar, all of them I do think highlight the best moments of this album. Sadly, this album did kind of let me down. I'm sad it's not as good as I was hoping for. When it comes to the lyrics, when it comes to the vocals and all of those things, it definitely let me down in that regard, but I was definitely a fan of the production of most of these songs. So yeah, at the end of this, I would probably give it like a 5.5 out of 10. That might go slightly down and up, so the range is probably 5 to 6 out of 10 for this album. Generally speaking, when I re-listen to albums, they tend to lean one way or another, but they don't really go dramatically out of bounds. So yeah, I think that's going to be my final thoughts on the album. Please let me know what you thought in the comments down below, whether you enjoyed this, whether you didn't. Everything is fair game, don't worry about it. Anyway, that'll be it from me for now. See y'all later. Bye-bye!